undermined or the throne of Big Mama by the Pope, right?
Right.
So if the Pope is sitting under Big Mama's seat, he becomes what we call Jacob, YACUUB, YACUUB, right? So it becomes a verb. We watching them do it, but now we have to make them undo it. We have to reverse engineer the problem by presenting the solutions to the problem at every step of the way. This is what you call the cleansing of the great egregore. As we move to a singularity, people start to understand the information better because the vibration of the chosen ones and the light codes. The light codes are the keys to touch in a person's mind to wake them up from their slumber. Basically, you setting their alarm clock off, their internal alarm clock, right? Which takes us back from mortality to immortality, because mortality is perceived during the sleep state when you awake, but the immortality is perceived through the awakened state because you sleep, right? Mirror effect, as above, so below, flipping the Lucifer lens, right? So just like you think that the brain is the mind, but the brain is just the capacitor or the hardware to download the information that you call mind, right? So now we need a translator of the universal mind that can speak it in the common language of the people that's supposed to drive the egregore, the 5%, the po-righteous teachers, right? So we looking at flipping mirrors. While the Nation of 5% was founded in New York by Father God Puddin, Clarence 13X, the Red House was rising off the brother out there in California who was a Pyru, and his name was Puddin, right? So he's reflecting what's coming from the East in the West, right? Now the West reflect back off the Blue House of what's being written in New York, black and gold, off the great son or the great father, Allah, Clarence 13X, who's reflecting Chicago, right? Which is Elijah Muhammad, which is telling us that the great mother is the one who can clearly see Muhammad, the praiseworthy, right? You can't clearly see Muhammad until you've paid the fard. The fard is the wage. And the image of the picture that you are given is a mirror image telling you to study your way out and use the mirrors to see what I'm telling you, which takes us from Chicago back to Detroit. 313 equals 7. This is the master city and the master knot. The 7 is circle, but there's 4 breaks, north, south, east, and west. And in come the 1 that's the bearer of the news, right? The news is the information that's being referred to the 5 po-righteous teachers that it's time for all tribes to arise and return back to your original self. Go back to yourself, accept your own, and be yourself. Right? So now all of the tribes can trace back to the 313, the temple number 1 Nation of Islam was established across town, east side, west side, to the shrine of the Black Madonna, Albert Cleage, right? So now we got the shrine, Blue House, across from the Red House Nation. Now it's the flip. The one from the Blue House, the 7th son, is to come out and point to the Red House to determine the mother line is the bloodline and tell y'all that Clara Muhammad was Big Mama until she passed it on. Right? You got to always leave a successor for your work. I inherited the war chief, Chief Pontiac, Ottawa war chief's work, based on the blood and the right. This all traced back on the bloodlines, right? So the universal mind is waking us up collectively in order to reclaim what's ours. So now we got to shut down the slumber, which is shutting the matrix off, right? The last two things is to close their banks. Now, in the public service announcement, the sister directly got the alloidial title straight from the Rothschilds, right? They was left to protect the blood right. Rothschild mean blood shield. They can only give it to the rightful heir, right? So in the universal egregore, the collective unconscious of the collective of the people, we can go there and find that all information is available to us. We no longer need the teacher. We need to become God, right? The God self is the self that know all things. This is a new understanding of the old paradigm. We did this before and we'll do it again in another 25,000 years. Right. So closing out the age is finally complete when we find the matriarch, the blood matriarch recipient of the alloidial title. This is all driving. We're in the driver's seat of the great egregore now. Right. So you see that all of the chiefs is working for a common purpose, but they're working in what looked like a different direction. Right. Because they all got a different function to feel. If everybody did the same thing, we would never get out of the condition that we don't like. Right. So in order to get out of the chapter of misery, misery is caused by fear. The side of the physical manifestation of fear is called pain. Right. And love heals all things. Right. Because the love of the ones driving the egregore is what changes the universal mind. The changing of the universal mind is represented by the individual who don't take sides, and he can see all things. Therefore, he can say whose mind need to be changed. But you can't tell the individual because the individual is a subproduct of the whole. The individual got to come to their own conclusion to receive their own awakening of the self, which is the inner God in you. So we become master knockers as students trying to find our way out of this egregore, right? And the only way out is to go deeper within. You have to go to the subconscious of the egregore, or what we call the sacred halls of Amenti, the unknown land, right? And the sacred halls of Amenti is where the sun go at sunset. It's all metaphors, right? And meta is a byte of information. It's less than a byte of information, right? So by giving it in the metaverse, right, in the smaller verse, then it reflects the egregore in what we call the omniverse or the universal mind, the great egregore. Right. Let's go back to the slides. I'm gonna pull up another receipt to show them.
I got you. Hey, shout out my brother Mark Cooper, man, and family.
Okay, now when we look at different people using Kirlian photography, can you make that a little bigger? Okay, this is what you would look like if you see three people together. Right?
Okay.
I'm finna show you us building a great egregore or universal mind. It's just three random people walking down the street under Kirlian photography. You notice that each person's color code is different, right? Yeah. That's because they operating from a different chakra, but they still inside of their own auric field.
Right.
Right. So when you see this, these people overlapping, Okay, in the energy signature, these people would be in what's known as Metatron's cube, the auric field, in the energetic signature when they balance. When you imbalance, it'll stay like this. Right? Go to the one with the picture of the man standing in what looked like a 6-point star. Form or 2D form, this would be a 6-point star, but it's drawn where you can see its 3D imagery. Upright triangle, downward facing triangle, which means as above, so below. Right? This is called the star life. Now, put a circle around that, and that's the individual's auric field. Right? Now, this picture, Tahuti holding the star life in the right hand, this is the key to understanding the universe. When you understand the self as this piece right here. Right? Okay. Go out and I tell you the next picture so I can see them all, and I tell you what picture to pull up next. Here, this is the Freudian description of the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Everything that you're aware that you think is above the waterline. You got that? Everything that you think that you're aware of is above the waterline. Right? That's the conscious mind. That means that's the part of the mind you're aware of. That means the unconscious mind is everything that you are not aware of that's taking place below the waterline. Right? Now, notice that the iceberg is in the water. Water is symbolic for spirit. The solidified spirit is the expression of the physical reality. Right? So this is the individual seen as a spirit entity, as a block of ice. Every time you go to sleep, you go below the waterline.
Go ahead.
Right? And when you wake up, you come back above the waterline. This is why they say we was in the Piscean age. Everything was underwater, but we're going into the Aquarian age, an air sign. When the cold air hits the water, it forms the ice. Right? So now everything you're aware of has a counterpart that's deeper than you think below what you are aware of.
Go ahead.
Right? So this is called tapping into the universal mind. When you go into a hypnagogic state, you are where your eyes are parallel to the waterline. You neither woke nor you sleep. You just at the waterline. In order for you to go below the water, you have the propensity to close your eyes. Right? When you close your eyes, it appears everything went dark. But when you get underwater and you open them, you see a different reality than you saw, but it looks similar to the one you saw when you was awake. Right? Let's go to the next slide. The conscious, unconscious, and superconscious mind. Now, we just seen the conscious in the subconscious or the unconscious. Now we going into the superconscious, right? So this is a reference book to help y'all get deeper understanding of what I'm saying. The superconscious mind is the great egregore. The great egregore is all of the unconscious or subconscious minds being linked together as one, right? Next slide. Okay, this is another way of looking at the same thing. When they say preconscious mind, that means while you are waking up or while you are going to sleep. It's only preconscious when you come in from unconscious to conscious. When you go in the other way, it's post-conscious or unconscious, right? Unconscious mind is where you're going. So that's the barrier in the middle, what they call the barrier of no pass or the barrier of fear. Everything you fear is then that part we call the preconscious, because you haven't realized the universal mind that you can only realize unconsciously. Right? So now, let's go to the next one.
Right.
There we go, flower of life. Now, when we seen all of them people overlapping, this is what the earth is doing now with the matriarchs. It's creating this flower of life in matriarchs aware around the world, right? All of them together forms what they are a Tesla coil or a mitochondrial connected web around the earth. Right? This was what it would look like when all of the auras start overlapping around the earth. You get the flower of life. Let's read the description under it, Elder. A series of overlapping circles. A series of overlapping. Go ahead, finish reading.
A series of overlapping circles that can build infinites outward, forming a flower-like grid. All geometric forms can be found within it. Damn, my phone did. It is used as a blueprint for most complex, scarce geometry shapes.
Sacred geometry shapes.
Like Metatron cubes and Merkabah's symbolism, creation, and remind us of the unity of everything. We're all built from the same blueprint.
Okay, now it says in the second one that the blueprint for more complex sacred geometry shapes like Metatron's cube and Merkaba. The Merkaba is what it looked like as the one that Thoth is holding in his hand. Metatron's cube is the Merkaba of the earth. Right? That's the difference. The earth got its own Merkaba, but we inside of the earth Merkaba. Right? And the earth Merkaba is Metatron's cube because it's the collection of all the Merkabas on the earth. Okay, so this is the Metatron's cube. See, like a 6-point star? This is the two-dimensional representation of it. Right? But it's the same symbol. This is just the one that belongs to the earth. So you see, it's 7 key circles in this one. Because you got 1 in the middle and you got 6 around the outside.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, you got G is the 7-letter made and G is the letter in the middle. You also see in there, you see what's known as the compass and the square of the Masonic Lodge. Right? That's because the Masonic Lodge was the original rites of passage prior to infiltration. Once they was infiltrated, they became subjected to the misinformation, right? Which brought us to morals and dogma, right? So let's go back to the ones we got already. Go to the next one. Okay, now this is what we call the auric field. Each color is representative of which chakra it would be vibrating the highest in frequency. When you is stuck in your root chakra, you stuck in base desire. When you reach your crown chakra, you have liberated yourself from all of the ones in the lower 3 chakras, and you free yourself into the universal mind, the great egregore, the great thought form. The third eye, you can see it. The throat chakra, you can explain it. The heart chakra, you can feel it. The crown chakra, you just know it. Right? The crown chakra activation is also what we call the royal arc degree. The root chakra is your is your building stone, your cornerstone, because all other chakras begin with the activation of a root chakra. The root chakra is first activated up on your final determination of gender, right? And the enemy was converting the children by altering the root chakra in early childhood development, which throws off the development of every other chakra after, right? Which confuses the ones within their own auric field. The only way to find liberation is to become aware of the trauma in the root chakra that keeps you trapped in the lower three chakras, and you can't control your appetite. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, this is another book, I believe, that's showing you